Jonah Mercer had always believed loyalty was the foundation of family. Not love, not blood, loyalty. And for 32 years he had given it freely. He gave it to his twin brother Jacob, who had entered the world 7 minutes after him and spent their entire lives walking side by side. He gave it to his parents, who constantly praised Jacob's charm while depending on Jonah's stability. And most of all, he gave it to Felicia Monroe, the woman he planned to marry. Felicia had soft brown eyes, an elegant smile, and a voice that could calm him after the longest day on Wall Street. She worked in corporate marketing while Jonah climbed the ladder at an investment firm in Philadelphia. Together, they looked perfect from the outside. The beautiful apartment, the engagement photos, the wedding invitations already ordered. Everything appeared flawless. Everything except the truth. Jonah was the responsible twin. Jacob was the exciting one. That was how people described them. Jacob could walk into a room and have everyone laughing within minutes. He bounced between jobs, flirted recklessly, and treated life like consequences were optional. Their parents excused it endlessly. "That's just Jacob." Jonah heard those words his entire life. When Jacob borrowed money and never repaid it, when he wrecked their father's car, when he disappeared for weeks, "That's just Jacob." But Jonah never imagined those words would someday apply to something unforgivable. It started with small things. Felicia hiding her phone screen, Jacob suddenly showing up at their apartment too often. Long glances between them that ended too quickly whenever Jonah entered the room. At first, Jonah ignored it. He trusted them both completely. Suspicion felt insulting. Then, one evening, everything changed. Jonah had left work early after feeling sick during a client meeting. He drove home through heavy rain, exhausted and nauseated. When he opened the apartment door, he heard laughter. Not ordinary laughter. Intimate laughter. A woman's voice. Felicia's. Then Jacob's. Jonah froze. Their bedroom door was partially closed, and through the narrow opening he saw them together. His fiancé, his brother, half dressed in the bed they shared. For a moment his mind refused to process it. The scene felt unreal, like a nightmare his brain would soon wake from. Then Felicia saw him, her face drained of color. "Jonah." Jacob jumped up. "Bro, wait!" The word bro nearly made Jonah black out with rage. He didn't scream, didn't throw anything, didn't cry. He simply stared at them with a look so cold it frightened both of them. "How long?" Neither answered immediately. That silence hurt more than the affair itself. "How long?" he repeated. Felicia began trembling. 8 months. 8 months. 8 months of lies. 8 months of family dinners. 8 months of wedding planning. 8 months of humiliation. Jonah slowly nodded. Then he asked the question that truly destroyed him. "Who else knows?" Jacob looked away. That was answer enough. His mother cried when Jonah stormed into his parents' house later that night. "Sweetheart, please calm down. You knew?" Silence. His father lowered his eyes. Jonah looked around the room like a man realizing he had lived among strangers his entire life. "You all knew." His younger sister Ashley began sobbing. "We didn't know how to tell you." Jacob arrived minutes later, trying to defend himself. "It just happened." Jonah slammed him into the wall so hard, a family portrait crashed to the floor. "You slept with my fiancé." Jacob shoved him back. "She wasn't happy with you." Those words hit harder than the punch that followed. Their father pulled them apart while their mother screamed. But Jonah barely heard any of it, because suddenly every memory felt poisoned. Every holiday, every barbecue, every smile at the engagement party. They had all watched him walk toward disaster while pretending to love him. He looked at his mother. "How many times did I sit at this table while they were sleeping together?" She cried harder. That answer was enough. Jonah stepped backward toward the door. "I don't have a family anymore." "Jonah, please, no." His voice became frighteningly calm. "If any of you contact me again, I'll change my number." Then he looked directly at Jacob. "And one day, you're going to understand exactly what you cost yourself." He walked out into the storm and never looked back. Pain became fuel. Jonah moved to Chicago within 2 months. He worked 16-hour days at a financial consulting firm, sleeping in his office some nights. While others networked at parties, Jonah studied market trends and investment structures. His brilliance, once buried beneath quiet humility, began to dominate the industry. Within 3 years, he became senior portfolio strategist. Within 5, vice president. By 40, Jonah Mercer was one of the most respected names in private finance. He invested carefully, aggressively. Real estate, technology startups, international equity firms, money multiplied around him. His penthouse overlooked Lake Michigan. He wore tailored suits worth more than Jacob's old monthly salary. Magazines featured him as a self-made financial titan. But despite the wealth, one wound never fully healed. Some betrayals didn't scar the skin. They scarred trust itself. Back home, the Mercer family slowly collapsed. Jacob married Felicia after Jonah disappeared, but their relationship was built on deception from the start. Trust never existed between them. Jacob cheated repeatedly. Felicia became bitter and resentful. Arguments turned explosive. Eventually, Jacob lost his construction business after terrible financial decisions and gambling debts. Their parents, who had secretly helped fund Jacob for years, drained their retirement savings trying to keep him afloat. Then came medical bills, foreclosure threats, debt collectors. The family that once dismissed Jonah as too serious suddenly found themselves desperate for the very stability they had mocked, and eventually, they reached out. Jonah received the call while overlooking the Chicago skyline from his office. His assistant hesitated before transferring it. "It's your mother." For several seconds, he simply stared at the blinking line. Then he answered. "Hello?" His mother burst into tears immediately. "Jonah!" He felt nothing. No warmth, no relief, only distance. She explained everything: the debt, the house, Jacob's failures. "We need help," she whispered. Jonah leaned back slowly in his chair. For the first time in years, he smiled. Not kindly, coldly. "How much?" His mother sounded relieved he was even asking. "Almost 400,000. Jonah gave a low whistle. "That's unfortunate." "Jonah, please. We're family." The word family nearly made him laugh. Still, he decided to visit. Not because he cared, because some wounds demanded witnesses. When Jonah arrived back in Pennsylvania, the tension inside the Mercer home was suffocating. Jacob looked older, bloated, exhausted. Felicia barely met Jonah's eyes. His parents looked worn down by stress and regret. Meanwhile, Jonah entered wearing a charcoal overcoat and a watch worth more than Jacob's truck. Success radiated from him effortlessly, and everyone noticed. Dinner was painfully quiet until Jacob finally spoke. "You've done well for yourself." Jonah cut into his steak calmly. "I had motivation." Jacob clenched his jaw. His mother finally whispered, "Would you consider helping us?" Jonah set down his fork. Then he looked around the table slowly. "At what point," he asked quietly, Did any of you help me? Silence. You watched me plan a wedding while my brother slept with my fiancé. Nobody spoke. You let me stand in front of family and friends making vows to a woman betraying me. Felicia started crying. Jonah ignored her completely. Do you know what that did to me? His father finally spoke. We made mistakes. No, Jonah said sharply. You made choices. The room went still. Jacob's voice hardened. You gonna punish us forever? Jonah looked directly into his brother's eyes. You think this is punishment? He leaned back calmly. Punishment would have been destroying you. Jacob flinched because they both knew Jonah easily could have. Instead, Jonah had done something worse. He succeeded without them. The next morning, Jonah met privately with a financial advisor handling the family's debt. Technically, he could erase all of it without noticing the money gone. It would mean nothing to his fortune. But that wasn't the point. The point was accountability. For years, Jonah had wondered whether success would heal betrayal. It didn't, but clarity did. And finally, he understood something important. Forgiveness did not require access. He could let go of hatred without reopening the door they slammed shut themselves. So before leaving town, Jonah handed his mother an envelope. Her hands shook, opening it. Inside was a cashier's check for $20,000. Not enough to save them, only enough to delay collapse. His mother looked confused. Jonah, this is for you and Dad, he said quietly. Not them. Jacob stood abruptly. That's it? Jonah turned toward him slowly. That's more mercy than you ever gave me. Then he looked at Felicia one final time. She looked hollow now, regretful. But regret was meaningless after destruction. Jonah walked to the door. His mother cried behind him. Please, don't leave again. He paused briefly without turning around. Then he delivered the words that would haunt the family forever. You all lost me long before I walked out that night. And with that, Jonah Mercer closed the door behind him for the final time. If you enjoyed this short story, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you.